and welcome to The Legend of Zelda Oracle of the Seasons, a Let's Play by Link6616. Today, we will be getting through the first dungeon in Oracle of the Seasons. So, I love these statues. I just love how they do follow you. I can't remember if Link's Awakening actually had these at all or not, but regardless, I still find them pretty fascinating. Right here then. So, first room. 4 square blocks. No way to get through. So, we could just kill all of these. Oh, fairies. That's convenient. So, what I like about first Zelda dungeons is that they have the good task of having to actually teach you the rules of the dungeon. So the first rule, and I think the most important rule, that these dungeons do teach you is that Zelda is about seeing patterns and then knowing whether you're breaking the pattern or if you're finishing it. So it's clear that these 4 blocks make a neat pattern, so let's try breaking it. Also worth noting, the screens in this game, despite being based on the Link's Awakening engine, actually have you can fit more than just a single screen into it. Right, so we've established that we can break a pattern to open all these doors. Let's explore the dungeon a little bit more. Enemies. So, yay key, that door goes back to opening, but this door doesn't, with 2 things around it that look like a pattern that needs completion. Again, setting up a simple logic puzzle, alluding to the dungeon item we're going to get, and if you've watched the Ages playthrough, you will already know what item I'm going to get, most likely. Let's just go straight for the key room, because why not? Again, we can see a special place that seems to fire pattern here, so let's see if we get a filled anywhere. Yep, just like the key before, we get a chest here. Again, this is a really good reinforcement of the logic behind how a Zelda dungeon works, which I think really is important. Because ultimately Zelda games are puzzle games, and you need to very clearly establish the logic which you can use. This is partially also where you get a lot of the major issues in Zelda games with puzzles that are unfair, in that when a game sets up a puzzle that it never gave you the correct information to really solve, those are usually the puzzles that are most annoying for people. Can I push this? No? That's odd. I wonder why I had to push it then. Anyway, forwards, 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 forwards. I mucked that up. Let's try that again. Not totally infallible. Well, that wasn't any different. So, I'm sure there's a way to do this. Mind. That's better. Okay then, so the Gesha seeds are seeds that develop over the course of the game. So you plant them somewhere, and they create a tree. And then you come back later to get the object from the tree. If you come back only a short time afterwards, you get something small like maybe a dozen rupees, maybe a ring. But if you wait a long time, you might get something as awesome as a piece of heart. I think, well, I can't remember the piece of hearts exactly. It might just be that there's 1 piece of heart you can get, maybe 2, but at the very least, what you actually get from it changes based on what you do between planting the seed and taking the nut from it. I think there's a lot of really nice little, I think it's a really nice idea. It's not particularly interesting. I will plant the seeds that I collect as I play through, but I'm not going to be too fussed if I don't actually have anything. Another key. I do like these things actually. They're a new addition, they're not in the original Link's Awakening, but they do add just a little bit of puzzliness to them, especially when you get multiple combined. Again, you'll notice that this is introduced as a single thing that's very easy to avoid, which I think is vital in introducing new enemies. On that note though, if you get the chance to play Aces Wild, which is being made by a very interesting guy called Tyler Doak, you'll notice that he uses very similar techniques in establishing new enemies most of the time. So it's usually just 1 or 2 enemies by themselves, and then he slowly integrates them into group patterns. Now, I'm just trying to think what's the difference between the colours here. I'm sure there's some logic behind it. Oh, it seems that they work based on speed. Rightio then. Moving forwards. Isn't it good we have a key already? Wow, those ones are fast. Okay then, so we establish speed by colour. These guys look pretty uneventful. Oh, that's right, they throw the boomerang between them. Pity! They die very quickly. If you've watched my Link's Awakening playthrough, you'll know these are teleporters. What's cool about this though, is that the exit is not actually at the very side of the dungeon. But I get to why I particularly like that in just a moment after I go through this room. Which one of these blocks gives me access? As I said earlier, Oracle of the Seasons and Ages seem very finicky with which blocks I can push to actually get anywhere. And yay, the Seed Satchel! So, as I explained briefly in the Ages playthrough, the Seed Satchel gives me access to a variety of seeds, starting with Ember, but then later collecting ones with fairly simple names such as Mystery Seeds, Scent Seeds, Gale Seeds. Each one of them has its own distinctive use, but they can be used in a variety of ways and fulfill a variety of interesting puzzle needs. A little bit gimmicky, but overall I do like how they play out. My issue is with a seed that gets introduced later, called the Pegasus Seed. Because Pegasus Seed just gives you a limited time speed buff. And if you've played a lot of games, you'll tend to know that speed buffs are actually, while really fun, in theory, probably the worst thing you can actually implement. Because speed buffs give you feel that you should always be going at that pace suddenly, and so you'll do whatever you can to always be at that pace. Whether it be just the annoyance in Pokemon of having to manually select your bicycle in the first games every time you're in the field, to always having to hold down a button to just run faster. People will always try and be at the maximum speed the game reasonably lets them if it has no substantial downsides. Which is where Pegasus Seeds fail. Unlike the Pegasus Boots, there's no straight line restriction, so you just want to use them all the time. I used to think that this was more of an indication of a game's walking speed being too slow. But when I really thought about it, for the most part, like, I never feel like I'm getting burnt by the pacing in this game. But when you get Pegasus Seeds, suddenly everything seems too slow. So I do think that it's this feeling of wanting to be optimized in a sense. Although some games still can have notoriously slow walking speeds and running speeds, it's usually relative to the amount of space you have to run, so in Xenoblade, you actually feel like you're going very, very fast, because you are going fairly fast over huge amounts of terrain. But in the last story, you go significantly slower, but you never feel slower. So it's not actually about actual speed, it's more about speed in relationship to the distance you have to travel, and what speed you're actually travelling at the time. I haven't played much of the first Zelda game, but I think this boss is actually a reminiscent of the first boss that you're supposed to encounter in the original Zelda game. Rightio then, well, that was the first dungeon done, and thank you guys very much for watching. Let's just hear a little bit of plot, which I'm sure will come after this. Seed scatters across bountiful lands unnourished in this fertile soil. You'll also notice, if you remember the animation of the company getting an instrument, this is a little bit more dynamic, which I don't think matters, but it looks nicer. Plot! Plot, 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 plot. Wah, it's me, the Maku Tree. Some of the fertile soils come to me, too. I already feel stronger. Oh, in my dreams, I saw the Temple of the Seasons, in a strange land I do not know. There I saw a precious item that will aid you, Link. That is all I can see now. Well, that was this episode, and thank you very much for joining me. I hope that you'll enjoy the next episode, which will be Oracle of the Ages First Dungeon. Bye!